En næstur hérna upp Arnt Eriksen. Hann stofnandi og sýningarstjóri Rethink-ráðstefnunnar, en Rethink hugafóstur hans sem sprott upp úr ástri hans fyrir markaðsfræðum, samfélagsmiðlum, nýmiðlum og þeim breytingum sem að eiga sér stað innan markaðsfræðinnar. Hann hefur yfir 20 ára reynslu í markaðsmálum, en Rethink-ráðstefnunnar ganga út á að leiða saman og skapa vettvang fyrir fólk, fyrirtæki og vörumerki, þvert á atvinnugreinar og menningu. Og markmiðið að skapa ný tengsl og áhrif, deila þekkingu og reynslu og verða þannig kveikjan að nýjum hugmyndum, endur hugsa hlutina. Yfirskrift fyrirlestra Arnt hvorki meira né minna than the future of marketing. Arnt, I've told them awesome things about you. Now it's your turn to perform.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for having me. My name is Arnt Eriksen. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer, founder and curator of Rethink, which is my own company, which is a marketing agency and academy for marketing. So I don't come from so much different scenery as Iceland. I come from a small island in the north of Norway called Stokmarknes, with 1,800 people. My background is like this guy. I've been working with advertising for 22 years, and no, I'm not going to tell you my age. None of your business. But I've been working with marketing, and especially focusing on digital marketing and social media for the past 7 years. So when I was approached to come speak for you, the challenge is content marketing the new black in digital? Well, one thing for sure is that what we're seeing now is that brands are behaving more and more like people. One fine example of that is this tweet from Laura, which obviously loves chocolate, and she has tweeted that she is following Kit Kat and Oreo. The response from Kit Kat was to challenge Oreo for a tic-tac-toe fight. Of course, Laura is ecstatic. Oh God, she's in heaven. I can understand that. And this is what Oreo does. Brilliantly executed. They could have gone into a really hard fight and lose the brand value, but they did the only correct thing and actually give Kit Kat the credit here. Brilliant. So one thing that is important to remember is that the brand is a story, but it's a story about you. It's not about the brand. I'm going to talk about 3 principles and 1 rule today. And principle number 1 is basically launched from this scenery. I guess everyone knows that this is Times Square in New York. I've been there at night. It's overwhelming. And when I started with digital back in 2007, 2008, Forrester launched a report saying that we as human beings get 3,000 impressions, brand impressions, every single day. That's equal to what a person had in a lifetime 50 years ago. Fast forward until 2014, Forrester reported that we have 10,000 media impressions. So we are being bombarded with messages from brands, not only because brands are posting a lot of content, but because we as people produce a lot of content, and we also boost brands' content. So the challenge is, how do we penetrate and come through with our message? Well, we have a challenge, because we have to know who are we talking to. That's the challenge. We have a target audience today that are spoiled. If you ask somebody that is born after 1995 what that is, they don't know the answer. They have no clue. We know what it is. We know that that's a phone. They have no clue. So the way we communicate has to shift. We have to think differently. So how do we approach this target? How do we find them? How do we find these strangers? That's clue number 1. The principle number 1 is, how do we engage? How do we attract this audience? Well, we have to know who they are. Number 2 is, how do we make them like us? How do we make them accept our message, to use our products and services? How do we convert them into going from strangers to becoming our customers? And thirdly, how do we convert those customers to become our friends? Because friends are the ones that are going to spread things with word of mouth. They're going to share what we have to say. It's kind of like going on a date. So first you have this excitement, this new thing. Oh, I'm trying to convince you that I'm the best guy. And here are all my attributes. I'm a handsome guy, so you should like me. And that hopefully turns into a relationship. If you don't do your job well, if you don't pay attention, if you don't continue taking care of that relationship, well, you have a breakup. And then you have to start dating again. Horrible situation. Hopefully that dating is going to turn up into a relationship and suddenly there's a good tune. And if you're doing your job really well, it ends up in a marriage. And that's what every brand wants. Today, we want a marriage with our clients. Our customers are supposed to join us for a long time relationship, for a long journey. But it requires a lot of work. And that work goes into actually how do we get awareness, engagement, the purchase, acceptance, the use, the satisfaction, and the advocacy. How do we create Find Like Love as a strategy? Because then, if we get that love phase, which we all want, we will make our customers reshare our content. They will repurchase our products. They will use word of mouth. They will give us permission to annoy them with our message. We will cross-sell and we will recreate content, which is the best way possible. In my point of view, and of course Milan Kundera said it really well, business only has two functions: marketing and innovation. It's a bold statement, but I have proof. We have to disrupt or die. One company, and I know that you all guys know what this company is, Kodak. They were all about profits. They were all about their product. And the sales division was standing there saying that, well, we make 80% of our revenue from film, and we only make 8% of our revenue from digital. CEO says, well, that's easy. Let's focus on the revenue. So we go for film. Where's Kodak now? They're gone. Because they didn't focus on marketing and they didn't focus on innovation. They focused on revenue. There's an expression that is called cognitive dissonance, which means the difference between the profile and the image. So profile is who I am. Image is who I want to be perceived as. And the target for everyone, well, it should be the target, is to minimize that gap. So that actually what I am is also what I'm being perceived as. A lot of companies does a huge mistake because they have different channels, different ways of communicating with their clients. One typical thing, which is typical in Norway and in Sweden as well, is that we have websites. And we forget that they actually have, our customers have mobiles. So they get one experience when they go on the desktop to look at our site, but they actually see the same thing on the mobile, as Domino's also proved. And then the experience is negative because it doesn't resonate. It's not the same image. So that's what we have to work with. Another company that has done this is Burberry. Designing everything, all the fronts and the images that they do is based on the mobile. So the experience you have here is the first one, and then they design the shop window based on this experience. They design the website based on this experience, which is the right approach because, let's face it, our lives is here. So it's important to think that what you see is what you get. The clients have to, or the customer has to, have that experience. It's important. I also promised a rule. So who knows what this means? Anyone? No? Okay. I'll translate. It says 1R E times 2 SAG. This means you have to have one message. A lot of people want to say a lot of things at the same time. Problem is, if I try to throw 3 or 5 or 7 balls to you at the same time, you're probably not going to manage to catch it. If I throw 1 ball to you, you will catch it. So if you have one message in all communication that you do, I will perceive it, I will act upon it, and I will do what you ask me to do. But that message has to be relevant to me. If it's not relevant, I cannot act on it. It has to be engaging, and it has to be emotional. 70% of all decisions that we as human beings do are based on our emotions. Do I like this? Does it make me feel better? Does it make me appear better? And of course, zag, which means when everyone else zig, zag. Be remarkable. Give people something to talk about. So that's the rule. I'm going to go through a few cases that shows the importance of what to focus on when it comes to marketing. Storytelling has been part of marketing for as long as marketing has existed, but it's important how you do storytelling. And this is a brilliant example that actually is doing the rule that I showed you in a brilliant way. I mean, that's an advertising for a web browser. Every time I see that one, I get chills, I get goosebumps, and I'm thinking, damn, why didn't I do that as a dad? It would have been perfect. The second one is attraction marketing. So storytelling, if you think about the first video, they had one message, so the browser is everything that the web is about. It was relevant because everyone can relate to the feeling of being connected like that. It was engaging, it was emotional, and it was different. Attraction marketing has a little bit of a different twist to the whole thing. It's not always on product, which I can prove here. So I'm guessing all the girls wish they were in that video. Yeah. Opinion-wise, the bank, DNB, skyrocketed. Everyone liked the bank much better. But the customer satisfaction didn't change. So even though they've been running that video and they have, of course, a lot more likability online, the customers are still pissed at the bank. So it doesn't really change, but they managed to get attraction based on the activity, which was a smart move. Content marketing. Oh, the buzzword content marketing. I think the easiest and the best example for that is Red Bull. And here's the video for that. The masters of content marketing. They have a website that has only high-resolution images, videos, and everything for free for any kind of media channel in the world. Why do they do that? Because they know that in every frame, there's a Red Bull logo. They don't do traditional marketing, they only do content marketing. So what's the difference between content marketing and storytelling? Well, in this example, Converse, which is the sneakers, they are targeting the skateboarders, the pop generation, the pop culture, and the music-engaged audience. So to produce content that was relevant, they've actually created a record studio in Brooklyn, New York, where they invite artists that can't afford to go to the studio to fly over, have their songs and the record recorded in the studio for free, and then it's going to be published by Converse Rubber Tracks. So it's a good way for them to create a lot of content that is engaging to the skateboarders and to the pop culture and the rock and music-interested audience. So it's a good way for them to create content that is relevant and engaging. Storytelling, as I mentioned previously, has this emotional connection. Budweiser. Did you see a bottle of Budweiser there? I didn't. But they used the Clydesdales, which they've been using in marketing for ages, and they used a dog and said, best buds. Emotional connection, it's storytelling, we feel good. Of course, we're going to like the brand better. So that's the difference. Content is relevant, storytelling is emotional. That's the difference between the two. So by focusing cultural differences, by focusing on context, and by focusing on the community you're communicating with, you're actually going to make a difference if you follow the rule. Because one thing that is certain, the only constant in life is change. We have to change. We have to rethink marketing. We have to see the way we're doing marketing is not going to work for the next 6 months. We have to do it differently. And the only way we can do that is actually thinking the following sentence: fuck the status quo. And remember to say thank you for everyone that is connected to your brand, that wants to share your story, that wants to share that noise and that voice for you. so that you are the one and you make sure that they ignore the 9,999 other messages that is out there. That's also my cue. Thank you for having me. Tack.